Hey Steelers fans, today we're going to be doing a mailbag episode where I'm going to be answering all of your questions. If you want to get a question on one of these mailbag shows, go to the comment section on this video, put in hashtag Steelers, and along with your question, and you could be on the show. You have to be subscribed in order for your question to be eligible to become on the show, so make sure that you are subscribed to Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, and today we are going to be answering all of your burning questions on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let's just jump right into the first question here. First one comes from King Ali, and he asks, do you believe a trade for a decent cover corner or strong safety is necessary? Because I do. Edmonds isn't it for me, and I believe a great cover corner will help the front seven generate a little more pressure. Well, King Ali, my interpretation on Terrell Edmonds, I actually kind of like Edmonds a bit. He's a good blitzer. He's been grading pretty darn well so far. I think he's around 20th, the 20th ranked safety according to PFF right now. So I'm actually okay with Edmonds for the time being. But I think the big thing for Edmonds is that we need to be getting TJ Watt back. When TJ Watt comes back, Tomlin's gonna deploy him more as a blitzer, and that's really where he's best, is when he's coming off the edge there. He's coming as like a surprise blitzer, and that's really where he's best. Right now we're playing a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 3, lots of zone, and that's not really where Terrell Edmonds is at his best. But as for a cover corner, man, if we could get one, like if we could get our hands on one, that would be fantastic, but I'm just not sure if we're going to be able to get one. And yeah, so we have another question here. It's a very similar question from Stephen Tomasi. Should the Steelers trade for a cornerback to help the secondary or an outside linebacker to help the pass rush while TJ Watt is out? Well, last week we got Malik Reed. He actually had a pretty darn good performance against Cleveland on Thursday night. So actually, he's been doing pretty darn good. I kind of like him. I don't think we need to add an outside linebacker. But again, with the cornerback, I'm just not sure if a cornerback trade can work. The thing with cornerbacks is that you can never have too many of them. And if a team has like 3 or 4 good ones, they're not really going to be willing to trade those, even for like a mid-round pick. The price is going to be pretty high on those guys. But, you know, here are some of the free agent options that we could be looking at. Chris Harris Jr., Kevin King. So those two guys, lots of experience. So Chris Harris, obviously lots of years in the league, tons of experience, but the last couple of years hasn't graded very well. Same thing with Kevin King. He's been playing on some good teams, like with the Packers, but, you know, he's been exposed in one-on-one coverage a lot. Not sure how much he would help the team. Malcolm Butler is, obviously Super Bowl hero. He's had some really great games in his career. At one point, he was an elite cover corner, one-on-one, but right now, man, he's getting old. He's not as good as he once was. Ross Cockrell, I'm not a big fan of Ross Cockrell personally, and then Janoris Jenkins, same thing. A lot of these guys, they're not on teams for a reason. Usually in this league, if you're a corner and you can perform at a high level, you're going to be on a roster somewhere. So I'm not sure if adding a cornerback right now is really what the Steelers need to do, even though the cornerback play from the Steelers to this point has been anything but great. Okay, so do the Steelers need to add another cornerback? Let me know in the comments. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Okay, so the next question here comes from David Gomez. If Tomlin is not playing Pickett, can Mason Rudolph play? Now, this is interesting because a lot of the reporting out of Pittsburgh in training camp said that Mason Rudolph was right in the thick of it in terms of the quarterback competition. And he has played games in this offense before. He's played with this offensive coordinator before. He knows the offense. And he has a 5-4-1 record in the NFL. So, that's fine, not great. We've seen what this offense looks like with Mason Rudolph, and it's not fantastic. It's about where it is right now with Trubisky. So I'm not sure if going to Rudolph is really going to make much of a difference. Okay, let's move on to the next question here. It comes from Vincent Sorletti, and he asks, thoughts on signing Eric Fisher? Okay, so Eric Fisher is a free agent tackle, veteran in this league, played a lot of games. But honestly, I kind of like where the offensive line is sitting right now. I might be in the majority on this, but I'm looking at the PFF pass grades here for the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line. Dan Moore Jr., pretty darn good, 20th in the league. So, each team has 2 starting tackles, so that's like 10th in the league right there. That's not bad. Kevin Dotson, 13th, same thing. Mason Cole, 9th. James Daniels is the best pass-blocking guard in football right now, according to PFF. And then Okorafor is doing a pretty darn good job, too. So I'm not really sure if I see the reasoning for going out and spending money on Eric Fisher right now. I think that we're in a decent spot in terms of pass protection. These guys need to get better at run blocking. That's for darn sure. But I think for now, where we're at with Dan Moore Jr. and Okorafor at tackle, I think we're pretty good. Okay, so want the best Steelers coverage this season? Subscribe to Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. This is where we set the standard for Steelers coverage and analysis. If you love your Steelers, give us a subscribe. All right, next question here comes from Colton Garbett. Do you see Calvin Austin III providing a much-needed spark for this offense? So we drafted Calvin Austin this year, mid-round pick, very tiny, kind of dynamo type. I really liked him coming out of college, man. He's shifty, he's fast. In terms of like the jet motion that Matt Canada likes to run, he could be a very dangerous weapon in terms of that. But, right now, I don't think that wide receiver is necessarily the issue. We have Deontay Johnson. We have George Pickens. We have Chase Claypool. Freiermuth is no joke. And then we got Najee Harris. Like, it's not the perimeter talent that's the issue with this team. It's the lack of run blocking, and it's the quarterback play that's really holding this team down. So, although I think Calvin Austin is going to come in, and he's going to provide a little bit of a spark in terms of, like, gadget plays, that sort of stuff. I really don't see him making like a huge difference, whereas like the offense is going to suddenly change by his presence. Okay, so let me know, how excited are you to finally see Calvin Austin III? Scale it on a scale of 1 to 10. Personally, I'm about a 7. I'm pretty darn excited, but at the end of the day, I'm managing my expectations. I'm not going to say it's going to change life in Pittsburgh as we know it. Okay, next question here. Why can't we stop the run? Do we need a pure nose tackle like Casey Hampton? So last week specifically, going up against a really good run blocking team in Cleveland with 2 really, really elite backs in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And then we were coming off of a bye week. No, not a bye week, but a short week. And, we had the most defensive snaps in football through the first 2 weeks. It's just our guys got gassed, man. And I want to see how this defense performs here when they've had a little bit of a break. They just elevated a new guy to Montravius Adams to the starting nose tackle position over what's his name, Chugs? Yeah, Alu, that's right. And so we do have a new nose tackle that's going to be in the starting lineup this weekend. I'm excited to see how he does. Devin Bush and our linebackers need to play a lot better as well at the second level because they're missing tackles, and it's providing running backs opportunities to get 5-6 more yards when they're not tackling. Okay, so here are a couple free agent defensive tackles that we could potentially pick up. Sheldon Richardson, solid veteran, has played in a lot of big games. Getting a little bit older, but, he's not as explosive as he once was. But, I wouldn't mind picking him up. Linval Joseph is more of a true nose, so I would prefer him over Richardson because he's a bit heavier, could come and play nose right away. Kingsley Kiki's had some good games in this career, but the consistency hasn't always been there for him. Malik Jackson, same way, very athletic guy, but, consistency in terms of the technique hasn't always been there. Then Ndamukong Suh. Maybe not a pure nose for him, but if you put him next to Casey, if you put him next to, what's that, Chug? Sorry. Yeah, right. And if you put him on our defensive line, he could really do some great stuff for our run game. But the thing is, he's probably going to be very expensive. We got about $8.5 million left in cap room. I'm not sure if we can afford him. If we could bring him in, that'd be fantastic for like $6 million. I would probably do that, but I'm not sure if that's a realistic possibility. Yeah, and Cameron Hayward is the guy I was thinking of before. If you put him next to Cameron Hayward, man, like I don't know why I couldn't think of his name, but if you put those two guys together on the defensive line, it's going to be really tough for opposing offenses to run into the teeth of this defense. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to comment on the video with #Steelers. Subscribe to the channel to be eligible to get a question on the show next mailbag. I appreciate you guys coming on the show. Until next time, peace.